My name is Dr. Michael Brown, and this is 3 Words, a bite-sized podcast about the simple and yet very strategic choices that all of us can make in order to feel fully alive. And yet, what happens when you are struggling? What happens when you fall down? What happens when you're learning to ride the bike, as Barb Roose talks about in our conversation today, and you keep falling off? Well, this is what happens. We try it again. I love my conversation with author, speaker Barb Roose, and I think you will as well. Listen in. Barb Roose back in the 3 Words podcast studio once again. I think we were just running the numbers and then looking at some episodes. Episode number 4 in 3 Words podcast studio. Thank you for being here.
This is, I'm blown away because it took a long time for me to be able to jump in because of scheduling and all that. So I am just crazy honored to be back.
Well, we are very fond of you, and obviously the messaging that you share in our 3 Words podcast conversations are amazing. People love them, particularly this last one on Trust the Process. We talked about a lot of following, a lot of comments. But today our conversation is going a little different direction. But before we go there, I am curious, because obviously there are several people who don't know you as of yet, so who have not maybe listened to 3 Words podcast or heard your conversations before. Tell us just real quick a little bit about yourself.
This is that who dat moment.
That's right.
Who dat? My name is Barb Roose, and I am a speaker and author. I live in the Northwest Ohio area, and my primary mission is to help women live beautifully strong and courageous, because I believe that God has a great adventure of joy and purpose for their lives. So for me, that looks like on the outside writing books and speaking at conferences, which is a lot of what I do. But really at its essence, the core of it is I love to encourage women. I love to help them figure out what it is they are equipped to do. And that can be over a cup of coffee. I can help work with a woman, or it's just somebody that I'm on the street, just giving them a high five and a hug.
I love it. And we were just high-fiving actually in the studio a little bit ago, talking about some other personal things. But I'm guessing this conversation is going to get personal. Just chatting off camera, I'm guessing we're going to, again, just see what is so amazing about you, your heart, your tenderness, your authenticity, your transparency. And it's going to begin with these 3 words.
Try it again.
You laugh and you joke and you chuckle. So why is this so important to you? You chose the 3 words.
I did. And it's such a great list of 3 words, but try it again resonated with me because we are all human. And I've reached a stage in life where technically by age, I'm supposed to have a lot of answers. And by age, I'm supposed to have figured a lot of things out. And I don't know about you, but I still wake up each morning going, I still got to figure that out. Is it just me?
No, it is not you. In fact, we talk about this particularly in the context of parenting. You know, as I've been doing parenting, it's like, we know none of us have any idea what we're doing.
Right.
Marriage. I'm not sure I always know what I'm doing. Life's hard.
It is. Yeah. So this idea of try it again for me, and more than anything, it's because I do love encouraging people, and I hope that I can share some of the things that I've learned about that idea of just waking up and saying, I'm breathing. Let me get back out there.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to pause this episode just for a few moments and just simply say thank you for being here. But also, I'm guessing already you have started thinking about what are some areas of your life where you need to get back on the bike, where you need to try it again. Would you share this with a friend or a family member who also needs to hear this lesson as well? Now back to the episode. So my guess is you would encourage people to be fully present, to not be worrying about tomorrow, to actually be willing to take risks. I'm guessing all of these things tie into what you're
very much so. I think if I had to start with, for me, like what that picture looks like is most all of us got on a bike as kids. And how that happened, it varies. So for me, my dad got a bike. He put some training wheels on it. He said, Barbara, get on that bike. And so I rode that bike. And at a certain point, Dad took off the training wheels and I had to get on that bike again. And there was that reticence of, can I do this? And for all of my best efforts, I had to fall off that bike. But if I could go back and talk to 7-year-old Barb, the first time that she fell off that bike, she didn't want to get back on it. And every time you and I wake up in the morning, we're getting on some kind of bike, and no one knows when the falls are going to happen. but we are going to fall off the bike. And for some of us, I call it the pit. Like you get stuck in the pit when it's perfectionism. Oh, I should never, ever fall off the bike. Idealism. If I was a better person, I wouldn't fall off the bike. And then you're just tired. I'm just too tired. And so I'm not going to get back on the bike. And so we get stuck in a pit in life when we don't approach that fall off the bike moment and we just go, yeah, that happened. That happened. And what does it look like for us to get back on and try again? Because there's a reason why the bike is there. There's something that we need the bike for. And you and I, all of us, we want to make a difference in this world, but there's going to be those fall off the bike moments. How do we get back on the bike and not let fear of falling again stop us?
Wow. It's interesting. I'm going to go with that thought of falling. And maybe I'm just going to offer this a little bit of an insight. I would love your thought on it, that most of our falls are not final, and very few of our falls are fatal. They tend to be just, we bruise our knee, we hurt our pride, we are humbled by the experience, but then we can continue to press forward. I loved your conversation you had with me here in the 3 Words Podcast studio on Trust the Process. It was a similar idea in that we just want everything to be done.
Yes.
And finished and final. And yet the reality is life is this journey, bike rides through the mountains, through the valleys, up, down, every which direction.
Yeah. And
it's okay not to have the answers. And there's no such thing, and I talk about this in sports psychology, but there's no such thing as win or lose. It's win or learn.
Win or learn. Yes.
I love that. Yeah.
And that is for all of us who, particularly when we're on the ground, and because the fall does hurt. Let's be honest, the fall hurts. Before we hopped on, I mentioned last week, I had a relationship end. Now, I was married for over 25 years. And so I thought that I knew how relationships work. And so that relationship ended. And it took me a minute to feel like I could get back on the bike again. And so I marshaled up all of my courage and I got back on the bike. And it occurred to me fairly quickly in the land of dating. For anybody who's dating out there, it's about 99% falling off your bike. So I had to quickly become okay with the idea that it was going to be win or learn all the time, if I could borrow that language. Because every time I met someone, every time I swiped right, every time somebody reached out to me, there was something that I had to learn. And success could no longer be, did they ask me out, or is it somebody I'm spending time with regularly? Success had to be, what did I pick up that made me better at being in relationships? Now, as I face the end of a significant relationship just a few days ago, I'm on the ground right now emotionally. It does not feel great. I have learned a lot. The challenge for me is to not let pain try to convince me that what I've learned is wasted. The challenge is grace. And in a spiritual sense, we talk about grace, but if I talk about it from a standpoint of offering grace to ourselves, how I've coached myself the last few days is grace is that I am human and that I make mistakes, but I won't hold that against me. And if I can see myself in that lens of going, I'm human and I won't hold that against me, then I can be honest about what the experience was. I can look at what I've learned and what I failed at. And then I can take my heart and go, I'm not going to give up on this. I'm going to put my heart into trying again, and then hope that I'm just going to do one thing, one little brave act. And that's what it looks like for me to get up and try again.
Wow. Well, first, thanks for your transparency. I mean, here you are sitting in the studio just hours after a really difficult time. And I love the fact that, and this is why we love having you in the studio and love having you in these conversations, is that you never, ever spin your struggles. You don't put a spin on it. You're like, the struggle's real. It hurts. It's hard. Life's hard. We talk a lot about that here on 3 Words Podcast. But just the fact that you would kind of pull back the curtain and let us see in real time, in real space, what you've been going through. I really appreciate that. You talked about how you love being an encourager of women. I am so amazed that you also know how to, and I think we all struggle with this, to be an encourager to yourself, to speak truth to yourself, to be able to have these conversations with yourself. And I would presume as well, you have some pretty special people in your life that are also going to be able to rally around you and to help you try it again.
That is a huge piece of the try it again, which I'm so glad that we didn't leave the conversation without highlighting that. Getting to that place of being able to get back up again. If I go back to my dad, my dad was the person, he would just say, you can do it. And not everybody had a parent that could do that. But one of the keys to trying again is building that community of people. It may be one person, it could be more. There's got to be some sweat equity put into it because not everybody is up for the job. But having a group of folks, I have a lovely group of girlfriends. They're my Try It Again squad. And they are the ones who, when I can't give myself grace, they give the grace to me.
The Try It Again squad. I almost want to say to our listeners and viewers, do you have a Try It Again squad? Do you have that support system that is ready and positioned for when we need to try it again? I'm guessing there's times in your circle of girlfriends, to use your term, that someone's down and the others pull them up. And then this person's now down and they can pull them up. And it's there's always someone in there that we work together to keep us all back on the bike. Yes. I'm curious about this idea of training wheels. You know, you talked about putting training wheels on. I'm all about, if I were to encourage my kids to ride a bike, I'm not trying to even start with training wheels. I like the falls. I like the risk. I'm just curious, do you feel like as you're encouraging all of us to try it again and take risks and move forward, are there some training wheel kind of ideas? Like, do you feel like there's ways to specific things we can do to really get us in a place where we feel like, okay, you talked about small, brave acts. Yes. But what if we feel terrified and we don't feel like we can do that? What is some encouragement, some practical things we can do to try it again? Well, to get to a place where we're ready to try it again.
So I'm a big fan of putting the cookies on the bottom shelf. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
So the cookies on the bottom shelf, meaning that like when a kid comes in the kitchen, they want to be able to get them to the quickest and the fastest. Cookies are no fun when you got to like climb up the cabinet and reach and grab them. We want to put them, the good stuff, right in front of us. So this podcast, legit, for every person who is stuck. And when we're stuck, that means we don't know what the next right thing for us to do. Other people's experience can often be the best experience for us. And so if you're listening, there's a whole podcast of incredible people from all walks of life. And they're sharing their life experience. And so I'd say the very first practical step is to just watch an episode a day for a week. Get some new ideas flowing for wherever you're at in life. And then the second is to find someone that you can just say, it's so cheesy, but it works. I have fallen and I cannot get up. There's a reason why that commercial has made so much money, because we all fall and we all know what it feels like. And
everyone who hears that resonates.
Everyone who hears with it resonates. And you know what? When it is a good friend, they don't fix it for you, but they do come stand next to you. And sometimes all we need, think about if we go back to that bike analogy, how many of us, all we needed was somebody to walk beside us while we were pedaling after we got back on. So listen to podcast episodes, 3 words, get that one person that can stand beside you. And the next is just for today, this idea of just for today, you will try. You don't have to make a commitment. You don't need to sign a contract for 18 months at the gym, but just for one day, you will try not to, in my case, not to stalk them on social media to see what they're up to. Just for today, that you will make healthy choices when you go into the kitchen. Just for today, you will speak love and grace over yourself. Just for today, you will reach out and encourage a few people. Just for today, you'll avoid behaviors that you know are going to derail you. That it doesn't have to be a commitment. Just do it one day.
Barb Roose, I can see why now you're a public speaker and why you're an author and why people sit and just listen to you because, it's interesting. You have so much wisdom. I don't know. I know you said at the beginning you don't have all the answers, and neither do I, but just the wisdom pours through your transparency, through your stories, through your experiences. They're extremely inspiring. And it is just so good to have you back in the studio and just to learn from you, to listen to you. But more than anything, I'm hoping our listeners and viewers, as I kind of close out our conversation now, are just reminded yet again that we are human and that you are not alone.
That's it.
What a great place to be. Barb, thanks for being here today.
Oh, thank you. Oh, as always, love the conversation. Thank you.
One of the primary reasons for hosting Three Words Podcast is to remind those around the world who are listening in that they are not alone. And that when life is hard, they are not alone. When life is going great, that they are not alone. We feel like you're a part of our DMB coaching family. Thank you for listening in, viewing every couple of weeks when we drop another episode. But as well, we would encourage you to go to threewordspodcast.com and look at all of our episodes, but also dmbcoaching.com. dmbcoaching.com/subscribe, where you can actually subscribe to our monthly newsletter, because we know that you are not alone. And we want to continue to be connected to you and offer you more insight, more encouragement as you continue to become the very best version of you. Look forward to seeing you again in a couple weeks.